everyone. It's great to be with you. Actually, I invited myself. That's why they changed the program. You know, when you sit next to Goldie either on a flight, everything can happen. So actually, he said, Minister, you're in town? I said, yes, I am. And then he said, why don't you come? And I said, sure. Let's change the program in about 15 minutes. And here I am with you today. But I think there's no better place to be than here today. And I just want to say, yeah, definitely. No, I agree with that. This is the event that everyone should attend because I looked at the title of the conference, which is really charting a new course in the economy. And I could not think of a better moment to pause and to really reflect on what we have accomplished. Je pense que plusieurs d'entre vous avez vu les derniers investissements qu'on a réussi à attirer au Canada récemment. You know, there is a time in life where you need, and especially, there's a lot of challenges in the world, there's no doubt about that, but I think it's Canada's moment. You know, you've seen perhaps in press article, I was in Japan recently, I was in Germany, we're on our way to Korea. And what is striking me is that stability, predictability, and the rule of law is in high demand and short supply. And clearly, the world is looking for Canada. Actually, you know you're on the right track when in Japan, the CEO of the largest car manufacturer probably in the world, at least in Japan, said, there's a lot of things happening in Bécancour and in Kingston. For those of you who know Bécancour, it's a town of about 10,000 people. So when you have the CEO of a big manufacturer in Japan that says, there's something happening in Canada, Canada is on the roll, I think that says a lot about what we have accomplished. And certainly, I think that you may have seen just last week, we announced something quite significant. Some of you may have seen with Rio Tinto. We had the global CEO of Rio Tinto announcing close to $1 billion in Sorel. And I'm not sure everyone appreciated what the geostrategic implication of that, but Sorel will be the largest site in the world to be producing titanium powder that will be fueling a lot of the innovation you're going to see, particularly in 3D printing in the United States and in Canada for the aerospace sector. We're also going to be displacing China and Russia when it comes to scandium coming from Sorel, and we'll be producing more lithium. And this is in the strategy. Some of you have said, I have a dream, and we're about to accomplish it together as Team Canada. To be the reference when it comes to the battery ecosystem and electric vehicles. So meetings like you have today are very relevant in order to chart the future. And understand that the other CEO we had, you may have seen, we were with Lakshmi Mittal in Hamilton, the executive chairman, because we are on the way to be producing green steel, green aluminum, green batteries, and my next thing is green microchip. We'll be in Washington just at the end of this week to be talking to our US friend. I do think that Canada can be the supplier of choice to our friends and allies around the world. There's more and more discussion. You may have seen when we had the German Chancellor, the President of Korea, which we hosted, and I was in Japan for the funeral of Prime Minister Abe, that friends in the world need to really rethink their supply chain. And I think that is playing to Canada's advantage. I would say this is probably Canada's moment. I think you're seeing global supply chain going more regional and more emphasis being put on resiliency than pure efficiency. And I would say this is really playing to Canada. Why? I'd say there's 5 things that stand out, and I would really think that we should be reflecting on that as Canada. La première chose qui vient en tête, évidemment, dans les choses qui font la différence pour attirer des investissements, c'est le talent. So talent is king. I don't need to say that to a room full of business people. Obviously, talent is everything today. And I think the fact that Canada kept its door open even during challenging times is really making us a magnet for talent. And we need to do everything together to remain in that position because I keep reminding journalists, you never win on the money. Because we're competing with people who have far more money than we have. And you don't need to look very far, just look south. So we just need to be more agile and really responsive. And I keep saying not everyone wakes up in the morning thinking about Canada. So we need to make the case together in order to get the type of investment we have been gathering. The second thing I would say is ecosystem. I'm going around the world reminding people that the Windsor-Detroit corridor and that Montreal are equally the 3rd largest manufacturing hub for cars and for aerospace, for the aerospace industry. And we need to repeat that. You know, I keep saying, yes, China, yes, Germany, but the 3rd largest corridor to produce cars is actually in Canada and Detroit, between Windsor and Detroit. And Montreal is the 3rd largest manufacturer of planes after Toulouse and Seattle. The third thing I would say that is really playing to Canada's advantages is critical minerals. Listen, it's simple. We have all of them here to power the economy of the future. So no doubt that one CEO, when I was in Germany, said, you know, sir, one day 15 years ago, we looked south. Actually, we should have looked north. Because that's where proximity is everything. Proximity to resources, market, and assembly lines is certainly making a huge difference. The fourth thing I would say is around renewable energy. Listen, we've been blessed by geography. We've been blessed by renewable energy. And I think today, as you're looking at the number of businesses, just take an example, Mercedes-Benz. Mercedes-Benz has the goal, and that's their vision, to be delivering you, if you ever have the means to buy a Mercedes, to go to the dealership by 2039, and they'll give you a certificate that there's zero carbon in the car you're buying. That is a great opportunity for Canada. Actually, that's why the CEO asked me to go present to his board in Germany in December, because obviously, as you look at that, Canada is obviously the answer. I never go there as a selling. I go there as a buyer, and I say, how can I be part of your solutions? And certainly, Canada comes right at the top. The fifth thing I would say is access to market. Listen, we are the only G7 country which has free trade agreement, all the other G7 countries. And as people are rebalancing their investment, as we're building the full value, for example, of the ecosystem on batteries, I keep saying, never think of Canada as a country of 38 million people. Think of a country that gives you access to 1.5 billion consumers. That's exactly what Canada is providing to the world today. And I think at the time where there is a lot of uncertainty, there's a lot of challenges, there's a lot of concerns, forum like what you have today, to make sure that we build Team Canada, that we make sure that we sell ourselves, that we explain the competitive advantages of Canada, has never been more relevant. So I want to say to Nicolas again and the whole team, a great thank you. I think you're doing a great favor to Canada. I think you're doing a great favor to all of us by pulling us together. And you know, I always finish my speech, and sorry for those who have to stick with me at all these announcements. We had one this morning for those of you who were busy, Nokia. Just to give you an example, we had the global CEOs for the last 4 days. We had the global CEO of Rio Tinto, the global CEO, the executive chairman of Mittal, and we had the global CEO of Nokia. This is just in the last 4 days. And the message that he was saying to all of us is that they have chosen Canada, a place where Nokia could, and I think there's a vote coming, because no, it's not, my phone is ringing. You know, democracy in action. Today we can vote with our phones, so I always keep it, because that's the best way for me to keep doing what I do, is to keep my seat in the House. And they remind me of that, so I keep the phone close to me. But I would say when you have global CEOs like Nokia decided to put an investment of about $340 million today in Canada, close to Ottawa, which is part of their 5th largest R&D center. And what is inspiring with these type of investment is that we're not only building the immediate future, but we're building the economy of the 20th, I would say for the next 20 and 30 years. You're looking at critical investment like that in 5G, in making sure that we are at the leading edge. Actually, they were talking about 6G. And in a dinner with the CEO, I said, so what's the difference between the two? He said, well, one just goes faster than the other. So 6G is even on the top now that people think, but Canada will be at the forefront of the digital economy. So listen, I could go on and on to tell you that I see the world in a way that is Canada's moment at a time where we can shine. I often say, let's seize the moment. We need to take the opportunity, because the type of change we're seeing in the economy for me are generational. Yes, there's a lot of challenges around inflation. There's challenges on supply chain. There's challenges for folks. Let's be honest. The price of everything has been increasing. We saw Loblaws today, which is doing something to freeze some of the prices. I think we need to challenge all of us to say what we can do to folks to make life more affordable in our country. But certainly there's a moment for us to seize. The second thing I say, let's be ambitious. I think, you know, everywhere I go, I say, let's raise the bar. Let's collectively, as Team Canada, have a level of ambition that will inspire the world. There's a time where, as Canadian, we're almost happy just to be invited. Now we need to own the podium. We're owning the podium when it comes to the automotive industry. We're owning the podium when it comes to aerospace. We're going to own the podium on critical mineral. I intend to make sure that we own the podium on semiconductor. We'll have more to say by the end of the week, I hope. We'll own the podium when it comes to hydrogen. And I think together we can certainly make a difference. I would leave you with a thought that, my building is the CDL building. And oftentimes when I walk in the building in the morning, I'm reminded that people before us, a time of great uncertainties, made sure that Canada would be prepared for the next century. I see our role, I see our duty, I see our collective responsibility for future generation to make sure that Canada will be the supplier of choice to the world, and we're on our way to do that. Mesdames et messieurs, merci de m'avoir accueilli aujourd'hui dans une visite impromptue. Keep up the good work. We're very happy. And Nicolas, thanks for bringing everyone together. Merci tout le monde.